Ethan was a weightless form on the living room couch, the cool half of an orange pressed into his palm by a hand that wasn't his own. In the open-plan kitchen, Caleb slid his reading glasses back on, tied the strings of his linen apron, and began to ladle a thick butternut squash soup into bowls. The glasses were a shield, transforming him back into the composed, almost scholarly man Ethan had first met. It was a stark contrast to the man from moments before, the one whose raw intensity had left a meticulously bandaged mark on the back of Ethan's neck. The small, waterproof dressing was a silent testament, a claim of ownership that discouraged any touch. They sat across from each other at the small dining table. Caleb served him, shelled shrimp for him, and placed pieces of roasted chicken on his plate, all without a word. The silence was heavy with unspoken questions. Ethan finally broke it, asking if Caleb wanted to hear what had happened. He knew if their roles were reversed, he'd be unsettled, especially after Ethan had promised only days ago to maintain a professional distance from his boss. Caleb's reply was gentle, a simple statement that the choice was Ethan's. So Ethan recounted the evening's events, explaining how his station director, Leo Vance, had used a pretext about a senior producer to deceive him, and confessed feelings that went far beyond a professional relationship. Caleb didn't condemn him or probe for more details. He simply asked why Ethan hadn't been driving his own car. Ethan explained that he'd ridden with Leo to avoid the obligation of driving a superior home after dinner. Caleb then wondered why he hadn't called. Ethan admitted that the restaurant was close to home and he'd been in a hurry, thinking a rideshare would be faster. Caleb blamed himself, saying he should have gone to the station to wait for him. Ethan quickly refuted that, insisting it wasn't Caleb's fault. But he made a promise that if he ever found himself in trouble again, Caleb would be his first call. "Ethan, can I ask you something?" Caleb's voice was low. Ethan put down his fork, waiting. "Why didn't you end up with him?" Considering the criteria on Ethan's old dating profiles, the station director was a perfect match on paper. Ethan's answer was concise. Leo had been married at the time. When Caleb asked what happened after that, Ethan propped his chin on his hand and turned the tables, inquiring if he could ask a question in return. Caleb agreed. Ethan asked if, had their blind date been with someone else, Caleb would have married that person. "No," Caleb answered without hesitation. A slow smile spread across Ethan's face, turning the straight line of his lips into a gentle curve. He asked if Caleb still needed an answer to his question. Caleb looked down, focusing on shelling another shrimp. He murmured that it was no longer necessary. Ethan's fingers grazed the bandage on his neck. He wondered aloud how long he needed to wear it. Caleb told him he would help him remove it after his shower. 3 days later, Ethan was in his office organizing materials for a prison visit. His colleague, Chloe, was helping him check his audio recorder and tablet. The interview subject was high profile, and the detention center only permitted one person inside. Ethan put on his earbuds to watch a video Caleb's grandmother had recorded for his nephew, Jaden. He had watched it countless times since returning from her small town in upstate New York, and each time, the back of his throat burned as if he'd swallowed a lemon. The woman, nearly 90, spoke with a trembling voice, her words simple and unadorned, expressing only her hope for her grandson's return. The raw emotion made his own eyes sting. He pulled off the headphones as Chloe leaned over his desk. She was squinting at the side of his neck and remarked that things seemed to be getting intense between him and his new husband. When Ethan looked confused, she snapped a picture with her phone and showed it to him. Just below his earlobe was a dark, circular mark, a bruise of passion that looked like a drop of sealed wax. He had been careful to wear a turtleneck, but had completely missed this little souvenir. He sent the image to himself before deleting it from her phone. Chloe leaned against his desk, twirling a lock of her hair. She teased him, asking if their newlywed life was progressing smoothly. Ethan, zooming in on the picture as if searching for the imprint of Caleb's teeth, muttered that it was fine. Chloe pressed, asking if they had slept together. He said they hadn't. She leaned closer, her voice a conspiratorial whisper, wanting to know just how far they'd gone. Ethan zoomed the photo in and out, stating that she was looking at exactly how far. A phantom sting surfaced in his mind, the memory of teeth sinking into skin. He pulled his collar tighter, hiding the evidence from Chloe's prying eyes. He was beginning to understand that Caleb's particular pihal wasn't just biting, but something more primal, an urge to draw him in, to absorb him. Chloe was skeptical, rattling off a series of questions about whether he was sore, if he could walk straight, if there hadn't been a marathon of passion. Ethan snatched her phone, opened a podcast app, and handed it back, suggesting she listen to an audio drama from his personal channel, Zephyr, if she was that bored. Chloe wasn't a huge fan of the genre, but she knew the name. She commented that the famous Zephyr hadn't released any new content in over 6 months, and that his recent work had grown repetitive. Ethan, whose vocal range allowed him to play a variety of roles, had always preferred playing the more vulnerable characters but struggled to find partners he clicked with, often ending up playing both parts himself. He told her not to hold her breath, because there wouldn't be any more. She expressed her disappointment, asking if he was really quitting the hobby for good. He replied that the scene needed new blood. As he gathered his things, Chloe made one last plea, asking if he would consider doing a project with his husband, just for her listening pleasure. Ethan simply said no, and that she should stop thinking about it. As he headed for the door, Chloe called out, asking if he wanted an orange she'd just bought. He declined, telling her to eat it for him, and walked out. She clutched the fruit in her hand and whispered, "Good luck, Ethan. I'm counting on you." He paused, his back to her, and gave a small, dismissive wave before leaving. Ethan had seen childhood photos of Jaden, Caleb's nephew. He'd been a chubby, smiling kid. The young man sitting before him now was a defiant teenager, taller than Ethan, with a buzz cut showing faint traces of bleached tips. His whole demeanor screamed that he found Ethan intensely annoying. Ethan greeted him formally. Jaden kept his foot propped on the chair, his posture a study in slouching indifference. He told Ethan to just spit out whatever he had to say. A guard issued a sharp command for Jaden to be respectful and take his foot down, informing him that Ethan was a host from the news channel. Jaden complied but rolled his eyes, muttering that he didn't watch the damn news and didn't care who Ethan was. Ethan had anticipated the hostility. He informed the boy that he had another identity. He was his Uncle Caleb's husband. Jaden picked at his teeth, feigning disinterest and asking which Uncle Caleb. When Ethan confirmed, there was a flicker of something in the boy's eyes, quickly suppressed. He scoffed, saying anyone could claim to be family. Without another word, Ethan played a short voice memo from Caleb. It was only 2 sentences long, telling Jaden it had been a while and that he should listen to what Ethan had to say. It was brief but effective. The rebellious facade on Jaden's face crumbled into something more subdued. Ethan stopped the recording and asked if he believed him now. Jaden lowered his head, picking at his hands, and mumbled that he was a mess, so why would his uncle even bother with him? Ethan gently reminded him that no matter what, Caleb was still his uncle. And he added that made him an uncle too. Jaden's eyes darted up to look at Ethan 3 times, a hint of surprise in his quiet mumble about his uncle getting married without a word. Ethan explained that special circumstances had prevented them from notifying him sooner. He pulled a small box of Sour Patch Kids from his bag, telling Jaden that Caleb had said they were his favorite. The box was already open. The detention center had strict rules against outside items, and it had taken considerable negotiation and a thorough inspection to be allowed to bring them in, on the condition that they were consumed during the visit. A faint blush crept up Jaden's neck as he muttered that only little kids liked that stuff. Ethan promised to remember that and bring something more grown-up next time, but pushed the candy towards him, asking him to do him a favor since he and Caleb had bought them specially for him. Just this once. Jaden snatched a piece and chewed it slowly before mumbling a thank you. Ethan felt a small sense of victory. With the tension eased, he took out his recorder, explaining that their conversation would be recorded, but that all personal details would be anonymized and Jaden would have final approval before anything aired. Jaden's face fell as he insisted he didn't know anything worth asking about. Realizing that direct questioning wouldn't work, Ethan switched tactics. He took out his tablet, telling Jaden his grandmother had left him a message. A guard stood behind Jaden, and Ethan couldn't move away completely, so he stood by the small, barred window. It wasn't his first time in a place like this. He'd interned at the station's crime desk in college. He remembered thinking how small the windows were, how they made it impossible to see the sky. Jaden turned the volume down to a whisper. Ethan had seen the video so many times he knew every word by heart. His grandmother's voice, frail but firm, filled the small space. She said that people called him a bad kid, but she knew he had a good heart. She knew he didn't steal the money for himself, but to buy her new clothes, to build her a new house. But she also said that no matter his reasons, stealing was wrong, and when you do wrong, you have to fix it. She told him to be good, to work hard so he could come home. She didn't need new clothes or a house. She just needed her grandson back. She urged him to tell the police, to tell his uncle Ethan everything, because telling the truth was the only way to get better and come home sooner. The video ended. Ethan remained by the window for another 10 minutes before turning around. The defiant teenager had been replaced by a heartbroken boy with red-rimmed eyes. Ethan didn't offer a tissue. A boy with that much pride wouldn't want it. He feigned ignorance of the boy's tears and asked if he had any questions for him. Jaden sniffled, asking quietly how his grandmother was doing. Ethan said she was eating well, drinking well, and had enough energy to argue with people, and that she missed Jaden terribly, but wouldn't say it to anyone, choosing instead to wipe her tears in secret, just like him. Jaden rubbed his nose hard. He whispered that he knew his sentence would be long, that he wouldn't get out in time to see her again. Ethan told him not to talk like that. He was only 16, and he had his uncle Caleb. He urged him to cooperate with the police and tell them everything he knew. Jaden didn't argue, but he remained silent, his head bowed. Ethan gave him a moment before speaking softly, telling Jaden that he knew things, that he knew everything. When Jaden continued to ignore him, Ethan took a deep breath and confessed that he wasn't just there for a story. He had a friend who had been involved with a similar organization, and he desperately needed to understand what it was, what had happened there. He asked if those people had put him up to it, if he remembered their names or even just their faces. Jaden's breathing quickened. He clutched his head, his body trembling as if watching a horror film. He started repeating that he didn't know, over and over, his voice rising in panic. The reaction was more extreme than Ethan had anticipated. He rushed over, putting an arm around the boy's shoulders and comforting him, telling him it was okay, that they didn't have to talk about it. He needed answers, but not at the expense of Jaden's well-being. He soothed the boy by telling him stories about his village, about neighborhood squabbles between pets and funny anecdotes about his friends, until Jaden had calmed down. By then, their time was up. As Ethan was leaving, he asked one last question. inquiring if Jaden knew much about his Uncle Caleb's father. Jaden's face went rigid. He asked why. Ethan pressed, asking how his grandfather had passed away. The boy's expression crumbled. He told Ethan that if his uncle hadn't told him, he shouldn't ask. That night, Ethan and Chloe worked late, until 11. The main elevator to their building shut down at that time, forcing them to take the service elevator in the West Wing and walk down the fire escape. As they neared the exit, Chloe wrinkled her nose, asking if someone had spilled rubbing alcohol. The smell was overpowering. A tall figure suddenly lurched out of the doorway, swaying unsteadily and reeking of liquor. Chloe let out a small shriek before recognizing him. It was their station director, Leo Vance. Leo's gaze was fixed on Ethan. He slurred that he wanted to talk. Ethan suggested they speak in his office the next day, but Leo insisted on talking now. Chloe tried to intervene, pointing out how much he'd had to drink, but Leo's focus was singular. He asked Ethan why he couldn't just see him, why he didn't understand his feelings, why he couldn't live without him. Chloe, looking disgusted, suggested she call him a car. Leo roared that he couldn't calm down. Ethan scanned the area. The fire escape had no cameras, but the exit led directly into the view of the station's extensive surveillance network. If he tried to force his way past the drunken man, it would undoubtedly lead to a scene, all of which would be caught on tape. He valued his job too much to be dragged into a scandal with his superior. He asked what Leo wanted to talk about. Leo said he wanted to talk to him alone. Ethan handed his car keys to Chloe, telling her to wait for him in the car. She pulled him aside, whispering furiously, asking if he was crazy. Ethan knew exactly what the situation was. Gossip was rampant at the station, and his relationship with the director was already a topic of speculation. He had earned his position as the evening news anchor through sheer talent and hard work, silencing the jealous whispers over the years. Being seen alone with a drunk Leo Vance in the middle of the night would only fuel the fire. He had thought of all this. As he passed Chloe the keys, he also slipped her his phone, speaking loud enough for Leo to hear. He asked her to wait outside and, while she was at it, to call Dr. Caleb and ask if his new herbal prescription should be taken before or after meals. The heavy fire door swung shut, plunging the stairwell into semi-darkness. Ethan moved closer to the exit, asking Leo what he wanted to say. Leo began a rambling story about how he'd first seen Ethan during his freshman year of college, when Ethan was hosting a university event. He had been a department head then, scouting for new talent. He said he thought he'd seen an angel, someone so perfect, with such a clear voice. He had decided then and there to bring Ethan to the station upon graduation. He spoke of Ethan's talent, his intelligence, and his ambition to be a news anchor. He confessed to expanding the evening news team just to create a spot for him. He lamented that Ethan was so good he never needed any special favors, but that he had longed to give them, to make Ethan feel indebted, to make him love him. His eyes were red with unshed tears as he declared that someone so perfect should belong to him. Ethan cut him off, stating for the last time that he was married. Leo waved it away, saying he didn't mind, that they could get divorced, that he would be a perfect husband. Ethan, having no patience for a drunkard's delusions, said he would pretend this conversation never happened. Leo, however, was lost in his own drama. He grabbed Ethan's arm, pleading, telling him he'd been in love with him for 10 years, from the time Ethan was 19 to 29. He apologized for not divorcing his wife sooner, claiming Ethan must have gotten tired of waiting and married someone else out of spite. Ethan had heard enough. He tried to leave, but Leo grabbed him again, begging him not to go. As Ethan warned him to let go or he would call the police, the fire door was pushed open from the outside. A strong hand pried Leo's fingers from Ethan's arm, pulling Ethan into a safe space behind him. Chloe rushed in, out of breath, asking if he was okay. Ethan, clutching the lean arm of his rescuer, assured her he was fine. Then both he and Chloe stared, dumbfounded. Caleb stood with his feet slightly apart, his palm aimed at Leo. With a movement that looked more like a gentle push than a strike, he sent Leo stumbling backward to the ground, where he curled up, groaning in pain. Chloe's jaw dropped. She whispered in awe, wondering if Chinese medicine doctors also studied ancient martial arts. Ethan was just as stunned. He knew Caleb practiced Tai Chi, but he had no idea he was capable of this. Maybe the action movies weren't entirely fiction. Caleb stood tall, his hands clasped behind his back like a warrior who had just vanquished a dragon. He looked down at his defeated opponent and warned him that if he ever dared to harass Ethan again, the consequences would be far worse. He then turned to Ethan, his voice softening as he asked if he was all right. Ethan, still buzzing with adrenaline, said he was fine and that Caleb had arrived just in time. He asked how they got there so quickly. Chloe had been gone for less than 10 minutes. Caleb explained that he had been waiting in his car at the station entrance for Ethan to finish work. Ethan asked why he hadn't said anything. Caleb replied that he hadn't wanted to disturb him. Filled with a mixture of awe and affection, Ethan suggested they go home. Chloe pointed at the moaning figure of Leo on the floor, asking Dr. Caleb if they should call an ambulance, worried he might have seriously injured the man. Caleb glanced at Leo dispassionately and stated that the pain would help clear his head. As they left, Chloe couldn't resist sneaking a short video of Leo's pathetic groaning, a bit of insurance against future harassment. Caleb walked ahead. Chloe told Ethan to ride with his master, and Ethan agreed. As he opened the back door of the car, Chloe stopped him, asking if the two of them could sit in the front and not disturb her solo time in the back. Ethan laughed and agreed. It was only after he got in the front seat that he remembered Jaden had written him a letter and that he'd left it in his own car. He told Caleb he needed to grab something, and Caleb offered to go with him, but Ethan insisted it would only take a second. He ran to his car and back in under 5 minutes. When he returned, he noticed Caleb and Chloe seemed to be getting along harmoniously. After dropping Chloe off at her apartment, where she enthusiastically thanked Caleb and told the master to call her anytime, Ethan turned to Caleb, curious. He remarked that they seemed to have chatted quite a bit. Caleb confirmed that his friend was very warm. When Ethan asked what they had talked about, Caleb explained that her father had bad legs and she had asked for his medical advice. Ethan was skeptical, knowing Chloe's personality, and felt there must have been more to it. As Caleb pulled into their underground garage, he admitted that she had also told him about Ethan's preferences. What preferences? Ethan asked. Caleb slowed the car to a stop. She said, "You like excitement." The simple statement, delivered in Caleb's low voice, hung in the quiet car. He pulled the handbrake. "Could I ask what degree of excitement we're talking about?" Ethan's gaze slid from one side of the car to the other, catching Caleb's reflection in the rearview mirror. He asked what Caleb thought. Caleb replied that he couldn't guess. He unbuckled his seatbelt and leaned over, his hand resting on the seatback behind Ethan's head. "I only know," he murmured, his voice a low vibration, "that the sounds you make when you're out of breath are exquisite." Caleb's eyes appeared in Ethan's own reflection in the mirror, their images overlapping. Ethan could hear the frantic rhythm of his own heart, but he didn't look away. He asked if Dr. Caleb was trying to flirt with him. Caleb stated it was merely a statement of fact. Just as he started to pull back, Ethan caught the collar of his shirt, holding him in place. Ethan tilted his head, asking what he was doing. Caleb leaned back in, his breath hot against Ethan's ear. Nothing. Ethan's fingers found Caleb's tie, slowly winding it around his hand. Dr. Caleb seems to be in a good mood. Acceptable. May I know why? Caleb's breath was hot enough to start a fire. Just when I was about to call you, I received a call from your friend on your behalf. Wasn't that what I was supposed to do? Ethan unbuckled his own seatbelt, pulling the tie tighter and leaning in closer. Instead of calling me, who was my husband planning on calling?